Welcome back to another episode of Unseen Yet Unstoppable. Today, we're diving into the incredible wisdom of Proverbs Chapter 10. You can think of it as a blueprint for life, one that lays out a fundamental choice every single one of us faces. It all boils down to two paths, and each one leads to a very different destination. So let's jump in and see what they are. The chapter kicks off with this powerful contrast, which is the key for the entire chapter. Wise versus foolish, and gladness versus heaviness. These powerful contrasts will be the engine that's going to drive everything we're about to look at. This literary technique is called antithetical parallelism. I know it's a fancy term, but the idea is super simple. Almost every verse in this chapter is built on this A versus B structure. It's a brilliant way to teach, as it forces you to see the two ways of living, the way of wisdom and the way of foolishness, in sharp contrast. Let's see how this plays out with our first big theme. Theme 1, diligence versus laziness. The text gets incredibly practical, drawing a crystal clear line in the sand between being diligent and being lazy. This isn't some abstract philosophical idea. This is all about the real world, tangible results of how we choose to approach our work. It really doesn't get much more direct than this. The proverb sets up a clear cause and effect. Diligent hands create wealth, while lazy hands lead to poverty. What you do or what you don't do is directly tied to your well-being. And this next one adds a whole new layer. Wisdom isn't just about working hard, it's about working at the right time. The wise person gets it. They know the season to act. The one who sleeps through the harvest isn't just being lazy. The text calls them disgraceful, not only lazy, but a sluggard, because they have completely missed their golden opportunity. The text also provides one of the most vivid metaphors in the entire chapter. It says, just as vinegar to the teeth and smoke to the eyes, so is a sluggard to those who send him. Just take a second and actually imagine that feeling. That sharp, sour, unpleasant sensation of vinegar on your teeth, or the stinging, burning irritation of smoke in your eyes. What does that tell you about the lazy person or the sluggard? The sluggard isn't just unproductive for themselves. They are a source of constant frustration and inefficiency for anyone who has to rely on them. This metaphor perfectly captures how one person's laziness becomes a major problem for the whole team. Theme 2, wise words versus foolish chatter. So from our actions, the chapter now pivots to our words. The Proverbs here are laser focused on the immense power of our speech. It's all about contrasting the words that build people up and bring life with the kind of talk that is empty, destructive, and foolish. Here, the proverb links the quantity of your words to their quality. The idea is straightforward. The more you talk, the higher the chance you're going to say something you regret, something foolish or wrong. True wisdom, a lot of the time, is found in restraint. It's knowing when not to speak at all. You'll see this character pop up a few times. The prating fool. It's an old term, but the NIV translation nails it. A chattering fool. This isn't just someone who makes a slip up. No, this is a person defined by their endless, idle, foolish talk. And the text is brutally clear. That kind of chatter leads straight to ruin. And check out this value comparison. It's fascinating. The words of a righteous person are compared to choice silver, something precious, valuable, and refined. But the heart of the wicked, their core desires and motivations, is considered almost worthless. It really shifts the focus to where the words are coming from. And the chapter just keeps hammering this theme home. The speech of the righteous isn't just not bad, it's actively, powerfully good. It's described as a fountain of life. How amazing is that? It provides nourishment for others. It brings forth real wisdom. And it just has this natural sense of what's fitting and helpful in a situation. It creates. It doesn't destroy. This naturally leads us even deeper. We go from outward actions and words to their source, the heart. The Proverbs now shift to contrast our core character, those inner motivations that really drive everything we do and say. Before we proceed, let's read the chapter in its entirety.
The following is Proverbs Chapter 10, verses 1 through 32 from the New International Version. The Proverbs of Solomon. The Lord does not let the righteous go. The Lord does not let the righteous go hungry, but he thwarts the craving of the wicked. Lazy hands make a man poor, but diligent hands bring wealth. He who gathers crops in summer is a wise son, but he who sleeps during harvest is a disgraceful son. Blessings crown the head of the righteous, but violence overwhelms the mouth of the wicked. The memory of the righteous will be a blessing, but the name of the wicked will rot. The wise in heart accept commands, but a chattering fool comes to ruin. The man of integrity walks securely, but he who takes crooked paths will be found out. He who winks maliciously causes grief, and a chattering fool comes to ruin. The mouth of the righteous is a fountain of life, but violence overwhelms the mouth of the wicked. Hatred stirs up dissension, but love covers over all wrongs. Wisdom is found on the lips of the discerning, but a rod is for the back of him who lacks judgment. Wise men store up knowledge, but the mouth of a fool invites ruin. The wealth of the rich is their fortified city, but poverty is the ruin of the poor. The wages of the righteous bring them life, but the income of the wicked brings them punishment. He who heeds discipline shows the way to life, but whoever ignores correction leads others astray. He who conceals his hatred has lying lips, and whoever spreads slander is a fool. When words are many, sin is not absent, but he who holds his tongue is wise. The tongue of the righteous is choice silver, but the heart of the wicked is of little value. The lips of the righteous nourish many, but fools die for lack of judgment. The blessing of the Lord brings wealth, and he adds no trouble to it. A fool finds pleasure in evil conduct, but a man of understanding delights in wisdom. What the wicked dreads will overtake him. What the righteous desire will be granted. When the storm has swept by, the wicked are gone, but the righteous stand firm forever. As vinegar to the teeth and smoke to the eyes, so is a sluggard to those who send him. The fear of the Lord adds length to life, but the years of the wicked are cut short. The prospect of the righteous is joy, but the hopes of the wicked come to nothing. The way of the Lord is a refuge for the righteous, but it is the ruin of those who do evil. The righteous will never be uprooted, but the wicked will not remain in the land. The mouth of the righteous brings forth wisdom, but a perverse tongue will be cut out. The lips of the righteous know what is fitting and what finds favor, but the mouth of the wicked only knows what is perverse. End of chapter.
Now let's examine the direct result of our inner character. Integrity, it says, creates security. When you have nothing to hide, you can walk through life with confidence. But the person on a crooked path, they live with that constant fear of being exposed, because the proverb doesn't say they might be found out. It says they will be. And here's a contrast between two incredibly powerful internal forces. Hatred is like an accelerant. It actively stirs up conflict and arguments, but love is a force for reconciliation. It doesn't mean you ignore wrongs, but it covers them, seeking to heal and restore relationships rather than just pouring gasoline on the fire. This following question could possibly be the clearest distinction of all. The text basically asks a simple question: what brings you joy? What do you get a kick out of? For the fool, it's mischief and evil conduct. But for a person of understanding, the source of real delight is wisdom itself. So in the end, our character is really defined by what we truly love. So we've looked at our work, our words, and what's in our hearts. And now the chapter brings it all together to describe the final outcome, the ultimate destiny for each of these two paths. And this is where the contrast gets really serious. It becomes a matter of stability versus total ruin. For the righteous person, the final destiny is permanence. The text even calls them an everlasting foundation. I mean, just picture that. Something solid, unshakable that can withstand any storm that comes its way. They don't just scrape by, they stand firm. And then in the very same verse, you get the polar opposite. The wicked, it turns out, have no foundation at all. When the storm of life hits, they're just gone, swept away. Their path doesn't lead to stability. It leads to fragility and nothingness. And this contrast extends even to life itself. The path of wisdom and righteousness is directly linked to a long, full life. The path of wickedness, on the other hand, is a path that leads to a premature end, a life where the years are cut short. The righteous are like a deeply rooted tree that simply cannot be moved. But the wicked, they have no permanent place. They won't last. The two paths lead to two profoundly different destinations, one of permanence and the other of ruin. And that brings us to the end. You see, Proverbs 10 isn't just some ancient piece of literature. It's a mirror. It forces us to think about our small daily choices, the words we choose to say, the diligence we put into our work, the integrity we hold on to, and see them as the building blocks of a much larger path. The text lays out the two destinations with startling clarity, and it leaves us with the essential question: which path are your choices building today? Before we head out, I definitely want to give a shout out and a thanks to all the listeners for stopping by to check out another episode. Whether you're in the gym, in your car, or just being intentional with taking time out to get a better understanding of the Word, please like, subscribe, and put on your notifications, and we'll catch you next time with another deep dive. Peace.